Breaking overnight, Kanks got his feelings hurt over an advertisement ran in the country of Canada. And he just throws feces at the wall. He doesn't give a shit about American people. He doesn't give a shit about the economy. He only cares about enriching himself, enriching his friends, and looking like a badass, which is impossible to do in the eyes of the majority. I would say that probably only like 30% of the cultists think he looks like a badass. But let's put this up. So he puts on My Social. The Ronald Reagan Foundation has just announced that Canada has fraudulently used an advertisement, which is fake, featuring Ronald Reagan speaking negatively about tariffs. The ad was for $75,000. They only did this to interfere with the decision of the U.S. Supreme Court and other courts. Caps lock. Tariffs are very important to the national security and economy of the USA. Based on their egregious behavior, all trade negotiations with Canada are hereby terminated. Thank you for your attention to this matter. His whole trade policy, you guys, is based on a lie. Yeah. This guy named Peter Navarro, who is a total dipshit who served time in prison, wrote a book, and he thinks he's this great economist. And he made up a fictional character expert and cooked the books on tariffs. And this is who is giving the president of the United States advice regarding this. And you have in this country really smart economists, really smart experts, really smart people. None of these experts or smart people are anywhere near Kanks, because he can't have anybody outshine him. He can only be surrounded by dipshits so that he feels smart and intelligent and important. So imagine you've heard this man speak. You don't think, boy, he's a real intellect of our age. This guy's a real thought leader. You think, did this guy just escape from a nursing home? So imagine that bar of how dumb the president is. Yeah. The people advising him are dumber.
Right. By design, they're dumber. And the Reagan Foundation response was very odd because Reagan did, in several interviews, go on and on about the danger of tariffs.
Well, in the situation with the Reagan Foundation, you have a couple of sons of Ronald Reagan. One is a total MAGA. The other, Ronnie Jr., is not. He's a liberal. He's an atheist. And so, just like so many former fiscal Republicans, now they've all been radicalized and red-pilled into this MAGA-verse. Moving along, Kanks doesn't want to declare war. He just wants to kill people. Play the clip.
Mr. President, if you are declaring war against these cartels and Congress is likely to approve of that process, why not just ask for a declaration of war?
Well, I don't think we're going to necessarily ask for a declaration of war. I think we're just going to kill people that are bringing drugs into our country. Okay? We're going to kill them. They're going to be like dead. Okay.
Okay. This is cosplay. Right. But it's real.
Yeah.
And any other American president says and does stuff like this, it's impeachment. The most disheartening thing about all of this is it could all end if Republicans had a spine. Every ounce of this horror show could end if these Republicans had a spine. But they don't, because they have a long-term vision of this country being under Christian nationalist rule. And so they're willing to go along with this demented toddler who throws feces all over the White House when he's not tearing it down, all over the Constitution. He erodes civil liberties. And now he just straight up, boom, we're going to kill people, dead.
It took me back to our interview with Ruth Ben-Ghiat, because she said the first time Trump said, when she heard for the first time that Trump said, I can go on Fifth Avenue and shoot people. She was like, he's an authoritarian. And he is sitting there saying, I'm going to murder people without due process, and you can't touch me. I just thought that is the most authoritarian thing that you could possibly say. I'm going to run around murdering people and I don't give a shit.
Yeah, I mean, along with all of the other authoritarian plays that he's done with ICE, and the list goes on and on. Moving along, Hegseth was asked about the existence of a memo establishing the National Guard as a response team to crowd control, and that they want this force to be in place by April of 2026. And I want you to hear his response because he doesn't deny this. Play the clip.
Sir, a memo circulating on social media details the establishment of a National Guard response force that's going to be trained in crowd control and civil unrest and deployed in all 50 states by April of 2026. Can you verify the authenticity of that memo, and do you have any more information on the operations?
I'm not going to answer particulars on something that may be in the planning process, but we definitely do have multiple layers of National Guard response forces, whether it's in each state, whether it's regionally, whether it's Title 10 active duty, whether it's Washington, D.C. We've got a lot of different ways that constitutionally and legally we can employ Title 10 and Title 32 forces, and we will do so when necessary.
Okay, I want to paint the picture for you guys, very crystal clear here. This is supposed to be set up in April of 2026. They are going to do everything they can do to interfere with the election. They've already set up this directive wherein they can send the FBI and other forces from whatever arm of Trump's Gestapo that he likes to anybody who has anti-American sentiment, anti-capitalist sentiment, anti-Christian sentiment. And so the fact that he didn't deny this shows you their ambitions about sabotaging the election are well in motion and more organized than we realize. They exude incompetence. There's no question about it, but there is a competence level here in breaking the government and in preventing free and fair elections from happening. This is chilling. And again, Republicans could stop this at any point, but they don't want to because they're out breaking laws and doing unethical things as well. And the payoff for that is, oh, if I do all of these bad things, but I make the United States of America a Christian nationalist nation, I'm going to curry favor with Jesus. It's kind of like the biggest hypocrite evangelical, they do all of these, depraved behavior during the day. They go to church on Sunday and then they get, a little respite from the sinning and then they rinse and repeat over and over. And I think that's what's happening with this Republican leadership.
I completely agree. And here's the thing. Pete Hegseth is a complete moron, but he is good at kissing Trump's ass and doing what Trump wants to do. And Trump doesn't want to leave power. And Pete Hegseth was appointed, in my opinion, for this exact purpose. Keep the people away from voting and kicking him out of office.
Well, Pete Hegseth was appointed to skim the military and to get rid of real people that are loyal to the Constitution and to put in loyalists that are loyal to Trump so that if the elections move forward and there is a blue tsunami and they need to, let's say that then we have a blue tsunami and Speaker of the House Hakeem Jeffries leads impeachment trials and the president is impeached. Who removes him? The military. And so it's more insidious to have the Pete Hegseth. He is already, generals, admirals are already resigning left and right. The brightest and best people in the United States military will not serve under Pete Hegseth because they want a military that is loyal to Trump so that if there is any removal of him, the military will not go along with it. So it's really dark, really insidious, and not even remotely hyperbolic. Moving along, every now and then his dementia kicks in. And I just want you to follow his thought process and think about if Joe Biden answered a question like this.
Reaction to Representative Dan Goldman calling on NYPD to arrest ICE agents who he says are acting illegally. He says they are illegally assaulting people and illegally detaining people at immigration courts in New York.
Well, I know Dan, and Dan's a loser. You understand. He's a guy that doesn't have what it takes. He's been trying so hard, and they're exhausted. I mean, it's so ridiculous, right? A suggestion like that. So, they're just trying so hard. and it's not working. They've even now started imitating me, of all people. They want to imitate me. And they start using foul language, but they use too much of it. You know, you can't use the F word 7 times in one sentence. It doesn't work. It might work once every 7 news conferences, but you can't do it. You can't do it 7 times in one sentence. So I don't know. They're really
Okay. This is what psychiatrists call flight of ideas. This is a dementia meets malignant narcissist personality disorder. This man is very unwell and frail. He was asked a very serious question about ICE and a sitting congressman. And he goes on a rambling rant to talk about how many times you can use the F word in a row, and everybody's trying to mimic his play at doing that, after he calls a sitting congressman a loser. And these are the same titty babies, the exact same titty babies when we had Jen Psaki on our podcast earlier this week. And she said, what's the deal with Usha Vance? The vice president is over in Israel responding that Jen Psaki was just disgraceful. So again, the flexing is constant. I'm going to call Ted Cruz's wife ugly. I'm going to call Dan Goldman a loser. I'm going to call half the country lowlifes. I'm going to do whatever the fuck I want with impunity. And everybody surrounding me is going to go along with it. But if you do it, then we're going to say you're disgraceful and you're a bad American and you're anti-American, and we're going to release the Gestapo on you. This is the point. This is the point, to constantly show the hypocritical contradictions and doublespeak. It is the point. They are flexing this authoritarian muscle, but they're strong man. You heard that rambling answer. This is a demented man who is barely able to string together 2 coherent sentences, longer than 2, and it's off the rails. Hannibal Lecter, you can only say fuck 7 times or not 7 times. It's just bananas. Moving along, here he is bashing one of his supporters at Home Depot. Play the clip.
This house was not taken care of the way it was supposed to be. I take very good care of property. I was very good at that. And you'll notice the floors downstairs, I paid for them. Marble, the most beautiful marble you've ever seen. The white floors down in the palm room, which they look like they came out of, I don't want to lose because they're big supporters of mine, Home Depot. So I'm not going to say bad, but they did come out of a box from Home Depot about 30.
Okay, let's stop right there. First and foremost, there's a group of people that have organized a massive boycott of Home Depot. Home Depot for years has given to Republican donors. And they, when you think about how they are facilitating ICE and profiting, allowing ICE to go into their stores, and these are hardworking people, it's not like drug dealers are doing drug deals in the Home Depot parking lot. And here, this tells you how little he thinks of people who shop at Home Depot, which the majority are probably his supporters when it comes to white Americans. And then how little he thinks of his donor to bash his brand on TV. And in this same interview, he increased the cost of the ballroom. It started at $250 million, and now we're up to $350 million, and he's completely demolished the East Wing. He has no intentions of leaving this White House. And I want to reiterate, this could all end if the Republicans and industry titans had any sense of a spine, because nobody wins in this. Nobody. And these people are too greedy, too selfish, too narcissistic, and too fucked up to realize that. And it is such a crying shame.
Well, and they're too big of cowards. They're too big of cowards. They want to appease in advance because they think they can get away with it. And the other shoe is going to drop. And just one thing I wanted to add is Donald Trump looks terrible. He does not look healthy sitting there. I mean, I thought he looked noticeably worse than the last Sundowner Hour that he hosted. I mean, he's not.
I
doing
think
well.
you can tell he's frail. You can tell the dementia is,
dementia.
spiraling out of control. He's puffy. But I mean, of course, he's a senior citizen. This is an elderly man that binge eats McDonald's, that doesn't sleep, that allegedly snorts Adderall, doesn't change his diaper frequently. This man should be in a home or a prison, or a home in a prison. All right, that's all we have for this episode. Please, a great way to support our work is to buy our book, Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches. Please subscribe to this channel, and we'll be back later with more news.